culture has to feel like it comes from within, because otherwise it's not really your culture. It's just some strap lines that you put on your website, right? I think it's about understanding the opportunity that this presents and the bits of our business that were always brilliant but perhaps weren't as celebrated or weren't as kind of prominent, or we weren't able to do as much with, or whatever it might be, and just dialing them up a bit. So I don't know that we're adding a lot. It's just going, do you know what, we are about high potential people. We are about delivery. We are about ambition. We are about, like, we've always been about those things, but actually we now have the platform to really showcase that. We have the brand to really showcase that. We are now very separate from our previous owners. We've rebranded, we've renamed. Like, we can now make that what we want it to be. We've always been this. Now let's really show it. And I think that's the thing.
This episode is brought to you by Instant Impact. Instant Impact provides transformative talent solutions to small and mid-sized companies that are making between 30 and 500 hires each year. If your recruitment's giving you a headache and you don't know where to start, then give the team at Instant Impact a call or visit www.instant-impact.com for more information.
Hello and welcome to We Need to Talk About HR. I'm your host, Felix Mitchell. It feels like transformation is going to be the defining feature of 2026, and also that change programs are a bit like buses or indeed reindeer. They all seem to come at the same time. So what do you do when you're dealing with a handful of different, often competing change priorities? Well, our guest today is Charlie Collard, and she's going to help us unpick this cracker of a topic. Charlie's Chief People Officer at Trinity Bridge and has some stories, lessons, and hopefully tenuous Christmas links to share today. Charlie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Felix. No pressure.
Well, you got plenty to share. I think you, from what we've spoken about before, you've dealt with more change over the last few years than most have in a lifetime. I wonder if you could just give us a bit of a background on, particularly on these sort of the change that you've been dealing with recently.
Yeah, of course. So thank you for having me. The last, I would say, 4 years or so have been pretty monumental, I guess, both personally and professionally for me. So I was lucky enough to fall pregnant and go on maternity leave back in 2022, right at a time when our CEO was changing, which in and of itself was a bit of a thing. The idea of not being there for the change in CEO for a business that had had the same CEO for about 15 years. That was quite a big thing. And then I went on maternity leave, had my son, which was fantastic, albeit challenging in and of itself, and a change for me, and then came back to get used to a new CEO and then be told that our business was up for sale. Fast forward, I guess, a couple of years, we went through a sale process that didn't come off. Then we went through reintegration into our then parent company. We then went through another sale process, which did come off. So change in ownership, and then recently another change in CEO. So, it's been, quite a lot of change, I would say.
Perma change.
Perma change. I like that. Yeah.
I think before we jump into the different facets of the change that you've dealt with, it's so weird, isn't it, that I swear people's most turbulent times at work so often marry up with big changing priorities on a personal level. Yeah. How I mean, did you come up with different mechanisms to be able to cope with being a new mum and having all of this sort of going on at work, or is it just a sort of just figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing in either facets of those two things. Like, I was really scared, if I'm honest, about leaving work to go on maternity leave. And I did end up getting coaching actually to help me through that transition. Actually, I think I happened to be speaking to a coach anyway around kind of career and all of that kind of stuff when I then found out that I was pregnant. So that kind of quickly shifted to, what the hell do I do with going off on maternity leave and everything else? because work was and is such a big part of my life, lots of people's lives, particularly as you get more senior and everything else. The idea of stepping away into something completely unknown, because I wasn't a mum, so I didn't know what I was gaining by stepping away. Like scared the bejesus out of me, and I didn't know what I was doing. I think I still I find it really hard to navigate, because the personal stuff changes all the time, right? As your kids get older and new things come in, we've got school next year, so the juggle of that and all of that kind of stuff that's forever changing. I think the thing that surprised me, I guess, about becoming a mum and then coming back and going through the changes that we did at work is I feel like becoming a parent gave me a little bit of a superpower that I didn't have before, because it was a totally different perspective, totally different challenge, and a part of my life that was now equally, if not more important than work, which definitely means it's tricky to balance, / I don't, and if anyone knows how to, please call me, because I don't know how to still. But the things that would have bothered me at work, or the things that I might have felt a little bit I don't know, that I couldn't challenge or couldn't cope with, or that I didn't have the kind of, I don't know, experience or gravitas or whatever to deal with before, I thought, screw that. I've had a little person, like, and had to keep them alive for like a year at that point. I can deal with this now in a way that perhaps I might not have felt like I could.
It's just great perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sort of,
Yeah.
if all of this goes away, I'll find something else.
Yeah. I'll figure it out.
I'll find a way to earn money, and the most important thing is the little creature.
Yeah, exactly. Creature's the word.
Yeah, I've been through the same. This is the most amazing mindset shift.
Yes.
that happens kind of almost overnight.
Yeah.
I wonder if you treat people in your team, and if you help your company treat people any differently. I'm not just talking about becoming a parent, but through those big life transitions, have you been able to strip some of those personal learnings and apply that institutionally?
100%. I like to, people might say differently, I like to think I was empathetic before. I hope that no one comments and says I wasn't, but I like to think I was before. But again, you said it absolutely right. Like, it brings a totally different perspective when you're living through it. Yes, becoming a parent, but as you say, like anything that fundamentally shifts your world, which is exactly what becoming a parent does, but plenty of other stuff does the same. I think it gives you a different understanding as to what people need in that time, and how you can help managers understand that as well. And then also as a business, kind of what's your role as a people function or whatever in making work rub alongside. Like, it's never going to be perfect. And again, honestly, if anyone knows how to make it perfect, they are going to be a millionaire, because it just, I just can't. But the making sure that work isn't a hindrance to it, or at least you can find some form of uncomfortable balance. That's the best that you can do as a people function for people going through that, right? And until you've gone through it, again, you might be empathetic, but it's really hard to understand quite what you need to do unless you've been there yourself.
Yeah, and I'm really pleased that you spoke about discomfort, because I think that's an angle to change that I've certainly noticed in the guests I've had on the podcast, in my own business, in our clients. It feels like quite a lot of people are in a position of discomfort right now with the scale of change that we're going through right now. So I wonder, for a business like Trinity Bridge that has been through so much, how have you helped your team members to deal with the discomfort of continual change?
Do you know, someone actually said to me, in a slightly different context, when we were going through this change, that if you're feeling comfy, you're not going fast enough. And that's really stuck with me. And there are times when I'm like, I feel so uncomfortable right now. I think I'm going a bit too fast. But it's it's understanding. It's a really easy thing to say and a really hard thing to actually implement and kind of do, but it's understanding, and this is what I've been trying to talk to my team about, that the discomfort is a good thing because it means that you're doing something different, you're learning, you're pushing. I think finally in our business, and I've worked in our business for a long time, we now have an opportunity to do things that we've always wanted to do but never could for all sorts of different reasons. We are now masters of our own destiny in a lot of ways because we're standalone. We're no longer part of a bigger group. We can do things for our people, for our team, for the business, for our clients that we just wasn't possible before. But that comes with, suddenly it's on your shoulders. Suddenly you're the one having to make the decision, make the business case, push the business to do, make changes or whatever it is. So if you're doing it right, discomfort should also come with some freedom that is exciting and new and a growth opportunity, which I've worked in HR and in kind of people functions for a long time. I have never had a career opportunity like this before, to do the things that we're doing now and experience what we're experiencing now, and that doesn't come about very often, and it'll feel hard as hell, and it does, but that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, and it feels like you guys are in such an interesting sort of feeling this shift in autonomy more than any business I think I've ever spoken to, because and for context for the listeners, you were part of a FTSE 250 business, and then bought by private equity.
Yeah.
Talk to me about just the expectation shift.
Oh, I mean, it is night and day. So yeah, we were part of a FTSE 250, and had been since our inception, and for a really long time that was brilliant for us. The prestige that comes with that, the kind of longevity that comes with that. But and our previous owners would accept this as well. We weren't core, like we weren't a big enough part of the wider group to really, I guess. Well, we got to a point where we couldn't flourish as we ideally would have wanted to in that business. But FTSE 250, dual regulated, lots of layers of hierarchy and governance and everything else that naturally comes with a big organization. I think 4,000-ish employees, in the group in total, etc. You then go to standalone, 900 people, private equity, who are fast. They want stuff like yesterday and then some, and the means and the investment and the insight and the kind of autonomy to crack on and do. So do it. And why aren't you doing it? And seriously, why haven't you done it yesterday? Kind of stuff. And that has been a big change for everyone, for top down. So the exec all the way down the organization. It's there's no excuses anymore. You don't have the group to blame. Myself included. Group said we couldn't. So, we don't have that anymore. If we're not doing it, it's because I'm not doing it. So why aren't I doing it? Run faster. And that is a huge shift for a business that has been, like I say, part of this bigger kind of ecosystem, and now is this kind of plucky, underdog upstart over here, cracking on. It feels very different.
That must be so. It must be, as you say. Well, what an amazing opportunity. I think plucky upstarts probably overstating it, right? But
hey, I'm plugging our business here as well, right?
Yeah, okay. The cool kids on the welfare.
Yeah, totally.
But you had I'd say most people would say it was certainly a substantial workforce to come with you.
Yeah.
I would imagine that not everyone feels as comfortable with the new set as they did with the old set of expectations.
Yeah.
How purposeful have you been with the culture to go to sort of underpin the expectation shift?
Yeah, that's been a real kind of guiding principle for me and my team, because I'm not suggesting that there aren't things that we could and should and will do better in our business. And I love the fact that there are high expectations on delivery and pace, and that this gives people who are hungry and who are high potential and who work hard and who have new ideas, this gives them the chance to shine in this new environment. All of that is really great, but fundamentally this business needs to, the intrinsic value of who we are, the core of who we are, I would hate to lose that. So it's a difficult balance, and I'm not suggesting that we're getting it perfect either, but it's something that we're really conscious of, because our culture's brilliant. Of course I'm going to say that. It'd be a bit weird if I didn't, but our culture is fantastic, and I would hate for that to get eroded by delivery pace at all cost. It doesn't feel like that, and it shouldn't be like that. And I think we as a people function, and the exec and other leaders in the business need to feel responsible for trying to maintain that balance. So that's come through in the how are we communicating to our people? How are we still celebrating our people? What are the things that we're prioritizing in terms of development and in terms of, value proposition and all of that kind of stuff, so that people feel that this is kind of the old business 2.0 as opposed to something completely different.
So keeping that core, are there elements of culture that you've had to add?
I don't think add. I think it's enhancing, and I think that'll be a longer term journey as well. Like I don't believe that you can just go, and now we're also this. Like well, people try, but I think that's BS if I'm honest. It doesn't. Culture has to feel like it comes from within, because otherwise it's not really your culture. It's just some strap lines that you put on your website, right? I think it's about understanding the opportunity that this presents, and the bits of our business that were always brilliant but perhaps weren't as celebrated or weren't as kind of prominent, or we weren't able to do as much with, or whatever it might be, and just dialing them up a bit. So I don't know that we're adding a lot. It's just going, do you know what, we are the plucky upstart of the wealth management industry, or we are the we are about high potential people, we are about delivery, we are about ambition, we are about, like, we've always been about those things, but actually we now have the platform to really showcase that. We have the brand to really showcase that. We are now very separate from our previous owners. We've rebranded, we've renamed. Like, we can now make that what we want it to be. We've always been this. Now let's really show it. And I think that's the thing. And that's
really cool. Yeah. Almost you sort of been able to, I guess, come out as this business that you are, rather than being, stifle's probably an overly negative word, but sort of hidden by the previous business.
Yeah, exactly.
How, I can imagine that's been quite empowering for the team.
Yeah, massively. And again, I really hope that none of them comment and say no, but
this sucks.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell is she talking about? Suddenly a mass exodus of all the people in there in Trinity Bridge. No, I certainly have found it really empowering personally, and really, really exciting and slightly terrifying at the same time. But like it's amazing to go, I love this business, I love the people in the business, and now we can do all of this brilliant stuff. And I see it in my team, in how engaged they are in, like, it's been hard work, right? It is hard yards to separate from a business, stand up on your own, all of the really, basic stuff to the really the really high level strategic stuff has to start again in lots of ways.
Really?
And you need to stand up your own benefits, you need to rebrand all your policies, you need to make sure that you can do contracts in the same way, we need to put in new systems, we need to do, there's a bunch of stuff, from the really cool to the not so cool and everything kind of in between. So it's been really hard work for everyone, but everyone's really embraced it, because for so long I keep saying it, but we saw the potential of what we could do, and now we can. And so everyone feels that responsibility to make sure we're taking that opportunity to do it, because we don't have anyone else to kind of blame anymore if we don't.
Well, absolutely. So plucky upstarts at the moment, leading the resistance.
Yes.
I guess it'd be really interesting to understand now that you have this autonomy as an organization. What is the strategy? Where are you guys gonna end up? And I guess what do you need to do with your people to get there?
Yeah, I think it's about refining what we've got. Again, I don't think that there was anything fundamentally wrong with our business, or that we had the wrong kind of strategy or proposition or kind of placement in the market or anything like that. It's about refining that, focusing on what we're really good at, and enhancing that, a bit like what we talked about with culture, right? And then understanding what are the existential stuff that then influences that. So couldn't talk about, frankly, anything these days without talking about AI, right? But
we got 20 minutes into a podcast without doing it. It's pretty good.
If anyone's got that on their bingo card, then now's the time. But that is, of course, frankly, it's going to be a hygiene factor, right? Everyone is going to be using it in some way, shape, or form. And then that goes to the skills, the roles, how does that change the people function in terms of our role within AI, but equally the people within the wider business? Do we have the right roles and skill set and what have you to utilize that in the right way? And that's just one example. So I think it's about, certainly as a business, our strategy is focus on what we do really well and make sure we're positioning ourselves in the right way in the market with our clients to kind of enhance that. And then it's, are we set up as a business to do that? So do we have the right people, the right skill sets, the right roles, the right org structure and not model, the right technology, etc., which is obviously where my team then comes in.
Absolutely. For a business that's been through so much change, you must have got pretty good at it. Practically, you've got a new change program. Let's look at AI, for example. How does Trinity Bridge, how does your team deal with the change program? Where does the accountability sit? Where does the execution sit? What have you learned along the way?
Everyone else should do it bar me. No.
Delegate.
Exactly. No, I mean, look, we've got all sorts of people within the wider business that are far better at this than I am. We have a change management team, for example. So, depending on what the program is, obviously we have a whole kind of ecosystem that you set up around it. From a people perspective, I think what we've learned, and through, not getting it quite right as well as doing it okay, is planning the comms and engagement and the kind of the people impact piece as a work stream in and of itself is vital, right? Transparent communication, regular communication, even if it's to say we can't tell you anything right now, but we will when we can. You have to have that built in as part of your project plan. It cannot be an afterthought. And actually the business is brilliant at that. So my colleagues around the exco table and other leaders within the wider business understand that if you don't think about the impact to people, whether that be practical because jobs are changing, or whether that be cultural because your entire business is moving, or whatever, then it's going to fail. Like, you can deliver the thing, but will it be accepted? So the people part of that is vital to the acceptance of any change. And that's where we kind of link in with the wider team. Yeah,
and that feels particularly sharp with AI. I mean, you see the stats of, I think it's something like 82% of AI transformation programs failing, and the vast majority of that being due to human adoption of it. Yeah. So looking forward to 26, where I would imagine a lot of this stuff's going to be hitting your desk. What are the big lessons around the adoption piece that are going to stand you guys in it'll give you an advantage when it comes to AI race?
I mean, I think, and I would include myself in this, we as people functions need to lean in on this, right? Because it ain't going away and it is changing so rapidly. So if you aren't all over it, you're going to get left behind. And or the business is going to do it and it's not going to do it well because you're not part of the change process, right? People shouldn't be frightened of it. It's here. It's here, and it's here to stay. And if you aren't in the room when those discussions are happening about how are we, then to your point, that's when the human adoption bit just goes out the window. I'm not saying I've got that right yet. I need to do loads more in terms of my learning on it and what that looks like for our business. And it's incumbent on me to do that and to encourage my team to do that, because I think people get scared of it because what's it going to mean for jobs and what's it going to mean for skills and all of that kind of stuff. But actually done well, this is going to be, well, transformative, but also, as I say, a hygiene factor. Like, everyone's going to be doing it. So you need to, and you can either run away from it or lean into it. And by leaning into it, you make sure that it gets done as well as any change program or whatever possibly can. As I say, I don't think I've necessarily got that right yet, but I think
if it makes you feel any better, I speak to dozens of people on this show about AI and hundreds more outside. I think that the vast majority of businesses are basically at step one or two of this, but I really do think that 26 is when it's all gonna when it's all rubber's gonna hit the road on these transformations. I think I'd be just really interested to zoom out a little bit, especially as we're nearing the end of the year. What are the elements of next year that you're really excited about?
I'm really excited for my team to kind of hit our stride in our new kind of world, because so much of this year, our sale process completed in February, so much of this year has been scrambling a little bit to kind of just start, I guess. Like I said, set up all of our own benefits policies, all of the sounds, I don't want to sound funny, but basic stuff that you just need to do, running the programs that we always run before, but on our own for the first time. All of that has been stuff we just needed to do. Next year feels like the year that we really get to do the stuff we want to do, to really change how we operate as a function, how we support the business in the way they need to operate in our new kind of norm. And I think that's going to give my team the opportunity to not only grow professionally, but kind of really showcase how great they are. And that's going to be really exciting, because you don't get those opportunities that often.
In your whole life,
you
get to reinvent yourself like a couple of times, don't you? What an amazing opportunity. What's your vision for the role that your team plays within the organization? If you're looking back in 5 years, what mark would you want you and your team to have left on the business?
I think, most CPOs would say this, right? But truly strategically partnering. Everyone says that, and it's really easy to say, and it's so buzzy. I know. I can see you laughing at me, Felix. But we have so much to do as a business. Doing it well. There's a massive difference between doing it and doing it well, right? And fundamentally, we're nothing but a people business. Like that's our entire DNA. So truly strategically partnering the business so that the exec and the rest of the leadership look back and go, we couldn't have done it without, and preserving the brilliant bits of our culture whilst doing it. I think those are the things that I would love to say we've done.
Well, I think as far as aspirations go, that sounds
difficult.
Pretty. Oh, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I've been trying to work in a Christmas thing all day, but the sort of the Rudolph the reindeer sort of vibe lighting the right.
Oh my goodness, really?
You know, it's
Go with it.
we're coming to the end. I had to sandwich something in there. That's really exciting. And if you could get a professional Christmas gift from Santa, who's obviously listening,
Of course.
an avid listener, he actually writes me way too many letters.
Really?
Yeah.
Asks you for things.
Well, just questions for HR. He's really into HR.
Right,
There's
sure.
So many elves.
Exactly.
Huge work.
Exactly.
Unionized.
Yeah.
Which is
God,
obviously
that would be
challenging.
horrendous. Yeah. Who would want to be his HR?
Yeah, well, right. And also, you know, you've got a leadership team who are married, which
Well, yeah. That's rife with issues.
if you could get a Christmas present from Santa for the business, so you come back on January the 5th or whenever you're starting again,
Oh.
and something's changed in the business, what would it be?
Oh, goodness. That is a really difficult question to ask right at the end.
Well, we've been warming up to it. That's
Oh, you see, you should have told me this. I could have pre-prepared. What would I ask for? Oh, do you know, this sounds really pathetic. I don't know that there's anything that we need as a business. It's just for everything that we're all doing, and by all of us I mean everyone around the exec and everything else, for it to kind of land as we want it to. We've got brilliant aspirations, but the execution is always the thing. And if he could guarantee us that our entire strategy would play out as we want it to in 2026, that would be superb.
I'd take that as well.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone could do it, the big man can. Really.
It always looks so good on paper. And then reality happens.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an awesome podcast. Thank you so much for coming on the Christmas special.
Thank you very much for having me.